It's been a hard year for Texas farmers. The farmers of Shovel Mountain Vineyard were no exception. During the 6-month period of monsoon season starting from June, massive damage was done to the grapes and the farm, says Scott Shirey, the owner of the vineyard.
Yeah, so my average annual grapes per year, so we'll use an example. There's specific types of grapes that we use here. One of them is called a Sangiovese grape, and it's this grape which is right behind me. And that Sangiovese grape, this year, we produced 1,000 pounds of grapes. Now, when we talked with the experts, they said this year it rained so much that everybody's crops was half of what it typically is. And the reason that is because when it rains in central Texas for grapes, you get a lot of humidity. And then we call what they call a fungus. And when you have funguses on grape plants, you don't produce as much grapes. It's not recommended to have trees in a vineyard, first of all, but we're not going to cut down our trees. But one of the ways that we can make a difference is if we are going to have trees is you've got to cut the branches down as much as possible to make sure there are no dead limbs, which we didn't do on this tree. It had a huge dead limb here that we didn't cut down, and then a tornado came through and ripped this down and fell on our crops.
To prevent damage to the vineyard in the future, Scott is taking some precautions against the extreme heat and storms. This was a perspective from one farm in Texas. To get a broader view of the effects of climate change, we met a different farmer who works on a ranch 100 miles away from Shovel Mountain Vineyard. Kyle Hausman works on a ranch on Hausman Gin Road, LaGrange, Texas. This ranch has been a part of Kyle's family for many years, and his father, his grandfather, and his great-grandfather all has been working on this ranch. However, the old barn that survived for centuries is in danger of collapsing due to heavy rainfall and storms.
Part of the things that happens during the periods of heavy rainfall is that the vegetation that grows up the sides of the barn will actually sit up on the top and just grow up there. And whenever there's periods of really heavy rainfall, it actually makes the branches really heavy and it softens up the wood. So what we have to do is actually just cut off the roots and everything down there. That way the branches die, because these things are about 100 years old and all that. So we have to really try to take some steps to make sure we make it as light as possible, because you really can't rebuild things that are antiques like this.
We met an environmental planner to address the current issues regarding climate change and extreme weather anomalies.
So what do you do as an environmental planner?
Well, that's a really good question. An environmental planner works with the city and planning staff, the people that are concerned about a project and its impacts on the environment, and we come up with solutions. For example, if there's water quality issues, like bad, dirty runoff coming off of a construction site, we'll come up with solutions to take care of those issues and make sure the project is sustainable and works well into the future.
We met a vineyard owner and they were having trouble with heavy rainfall and fungus on their vines. Do you have any suggestions on what they can do?
That is becoming a bigger problem with climate change, and local weather is unpredictable. So what we've done with clients we've worked with before is we would do some stormwater management measures to protect the soil, probably better cover, like more grasses to keep the erosion from occurring. And we would work with a winery owner specifically, probably to put in place some measures to help offset that fungus that's killing his vines.
Are there any suggestions you have for viewers at home to make the world a greener place?
Generally, the best thing we can do is reduce our carbon footprint. And you can do that by turning off the lights in your house instead of leaving them on. You can turn up the dial on your thermostat so it's not so cold in the summer in your house. Use cold water instead of hot water for a shower. Recycle. Definitely, the more we can recycle, the better. And hey, eventually, if we can all use electric cars and go solar, that's really going to help too.